There she is. Absolutely beautiful bike, and I've owned it for about 1.5 years, and let's see how many miles we have on the odometer. 15,455 miles in just 18 months. So that should give you something of an indication of how much I like this bike. This thing has been an absolute pleasure to own, and I have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of riding this bike. So let me just talk to you a little bit about it. The things that I've done, if you've seen some of my previous videos, I can put a link to them up here or up there. And just as far as the mods that I've done to this bike, I've added the engine guard with the highway pegs. I've done the stage 1 Vance and Hines slip-ons with the Pro Tuner. I've done the Mustang seat. I've done the lay-down license plate. And I've changed out the grips. I went with some Defiance grips there. I changed out the mirrors, went with the black to kind of follow that blackout theme. And I've also, and you can't see it by looking at it, but I have the stage 2 torque cam in this thing as well. And most recently I added the Reckless fairing. And there that is. So, other than that, she's completely stock. Oh, and I also upgraded the turn signals to the Custom Dynamics LED. So, I've owned this thing for, like I say, 1.5 years. I've put over 15,000 miles on it, and I absolutely love it. Update on the seat. The Mustang seat is just... it's unbelievably comfortable. I easily put 400 to 500 miles on this thing when I'm out really getting a ride in, and I just can't say enough good things about it. Absolutely love it. Now, if you'll notice, I don't have the passenger pillion seat on. I tend to ride solo, so I don't really have much need for it, although I do have it if I need to add it. I kind of like the look of this little, just kind of this little bib, which also came from Mustang. Probably my favorite thing about this bike is having the fairing on it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just get a Street Glide then? And I'll tell you why. Take a look at that cockpit right there. I mean, it is very spacious compared to the Street Glide, which is you're just kind of more bunched up. And this, coming from a guy with short arms and short legs, I really like the relaxed riding stance of the Heritage. It's just to me, it's just more comfortable than the Street Glide. And I have ridden the Street Glide. I mean, it's a nice bike, it's a great bike, it's a wonderful bike, but I just really prefer the Heritage. I absolutely love this bike, and I don't know what, I can't imagine why I would ever switch and go get the Street Glide. I mean, unless money were no object and I could just afford to have a few different bikes. Here, let me show you how nimble this thing is. Let's get on it. Take it for a little cruise. Now I'm just in the parking lot here, so... So yeah, I mean, as far as, I just feel like the turning ratio is perfect. I mean, I know you've got, I can show you the stats. I can put them right here for you, as far as the rake and the trail, and the overall dimensions, seat position, etc., etc. But this bike is just very comfortable. And just a real pleasure to ride. I mean, she's plenty nimble for me. This bike is, I suppose, kind of, they've reclassified it. It's kind of, they've put it in the touring category, which I guess would work as far as light touring, perhaps. she's no tourer, that's for sure. But having said that, I've gone out and done some. Certainly, I've ridden across state on this thing and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a very comfortable bike. You have the saddlebags, which are great for storing some things. You can easily take off for a few days on this bike and not have any problem, and be able to store what you need to in these saddlebags. I'm very forgetful, so I keep my tire pressure recorded there so I don't forget. But yeah, I mean, this bike, in terms of the, you're going to save probably about $8,000 over the Street Glide special. And I just personally don't see the need, unless that's all you do, is go out and just log long trips. Take long trips. All freeway. Then I suppose you might want a full-on touring bike. If I rode like Jersey Nick Moto and a lot of these guys that go out and just ride across the country, well, that might be a different experience. But as far as just a good all-around bike, I don't see how you can go wrong with this one right here, the Harley Davidson Heritage, available now at your local Harley Davidson dealership. Yeah, it's got the monoshock under the seat. It's very easily adjustable, and once you get it where you like it, you just kind of leave it. So but as far as navigating this thing around town, it's an absolute breeze. It's about 728 pounds, and then it goes up from there. But that's a good 125 to 150 pounds lighter than a big heavy touring bike that's going to come in at over 800 pounds. And I just find I think that this bike, with the 114, which this does have, is more responsive than a big tourer, and it's just for me, it's more fun. It's more fun to ride. I get more satisfaction out of riding this thing, be it locally or even out on the highway. I have no problem getting out on the highway and rolling down the road. So so those are just some of my thoughts after owning this bike for a year and a half and that's almost 1,000 miles a month that I've put on this thing. And obviously that's not a fair estimation, because I don't ride during the winter due to the weather up here where I live in northeastern Nevada. As far as gas mileage, I keep an eye on this. I average about 42 miles per gallon, which gets me around 200 miles. It's got a 5-gallon tank, so I get about 200 miles to a tank, give or take a little bit, depending on how I ride it. This thing has a lot of features. It's got obviously the trip odometers. It's got the range to empty, which I really like, that lets you know, depending on, and it takes into account how you're riding and everything, and it'll tell you how many miles you have until you're gonna have to fill up. So that's great when you're out and you're trying to plan your next gas stop. Obviously the bike is a 6-speed, has tachometer, has all this full function digital display down here. It has cruise control, and it has the LED headlight and passing lamps. So those are just some of my thoughts on the 2019 Harley Davidson Heritage. A great kind of a multi-purpose, all-around bike that for most riders I think would give you plenty of happiness and satisfaction. So those are my thoughts on this bike. I appreciate you checking out this video. This is JP1970, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care now.